Today we're going to show you how to paint a body. So a lot of people, as you get into body painting, is kind of scary just not knowing the different steps and what to do, but we'll do our best to make it pretty straightforward to get your first body painted and on your vehicle out at the track. So we've got a Proline rat rod body today. This is going to go on our speed car that we're getting ready to do. All of the items that I use, I'll put a link in the description so that way you know where to get it. So we're going to use a Lexan scissors. It's a curved scissors which helps get around wheel wells and works best for really all different angles of the body. And then we're going to use some liquid masking on this one. So it's all a matter of personal preference. I like the Bob Dively model aircraft liquid masking. It's always worked very well for me. And then just a cheap paintbrush from your local hobby store. So as we get into it, most bodies that you get, especially from places like Proline, they'll come with kind of an extra pack of decals and things like that. And really for body painting, the one thing that you're interested in the beginning is the window masks. So that way you don't have to use liquid masking on that. They already fit directly to the windows for that body, so it's a nice, easy application. So here it's actually just molded, not cut yet, so we're going to go through and cut these. We'll fast forward through that so that way you don't have to watch as we go through. So now I've got our body, it's ready to go. You will notice there is a plastic film over the top. It's an overspray film. It's kind of a personal preference on people whether or not they paint the whole body first and then they cut it out. For me personally, I like to cut the body out, so I've got the nice end shell there, and it still is an overspray film, so I'm not going to have to worry about that spray at the end. So this is ready to go. Next step will be to do the liquid masking. All right, so now what we're going to do is the liquid masking for our areas that we're going to have is chrome in different colors. So whenever you're painting a Lexan body, you want to do the darker colors first and then move into the lighter colors. So we're going to mask those off so we can paint the black, and then we'll come back and we'll do the valve covers and the rest of the engine in chrome. So since we have the overspray film, whenever I'm doing masking, I like to actually go through and mark off the areas that I do not need to mask. So in this case, we've got like this belt here, that's going to be black, and then this whole area here is going to be black, as well as up here, just down around the other side. That way when we're going through and masking, we kind of have an outline of what areas need to be black and what areas are actually just going to be chrome. Same with in between the headers here. Mark those as well. On the back here, so this is going to be the gas tank. So there's little hold downs here, so those are going to be black. We're going to mask those for now, but we'll come back with an X-Acto knife and actually cut those. All right. So we'll get our Bob Dively liquid masking here. Now the brush for the masking, if I'm spraying an entire body, you can usually get like a kind of wider spraying from just a cheap hardware store to spray liquid masking if you're doing a big area. But for these small areas, it doesn't really make sense to do something like that. So I like to get a brush with just kind of not a very fine tip or anything. I want to try to get as much masking on that brush tip as I can, so that way I can get as thick of a layer on, so you don't have to do multiple layers of your masking. For starting out your first few times you're doing liquid masking, I would recommend doing a few extra coats. It never hurts to have those extra coats, because if you don't have enough liquid masking on the body, it's going to be really difficult to peel that off and get a good clean line when you're taking that off to do your other coat of paint. Okay, so now we've got our engine masked for the most part. You always kind of look it over and just see if you have any spots that you missed. So I always kind of look at it from the outside and just if there's any clear spots in there, I know that that's an area that I need to retouch there. As it starts to dry, you'll get like a nice little blue clear film, transparent film in there. And the thicker it is, the more blue it is. So you want to have a little bit of color to know that you've got a good masking layer in there. So you can see here, pretty well covered. We'll let this dry a little bit. We're going to move on to the radiator section, and then we'll do the gas tank as well. So now we're masked off. We're going to let this dry for a while, and then we'll come back and go through and actually do the scuffing of the inside, the area that's going to be black. So the reason why I didn't do that first was because I wanted to make sure that we didn't scuff any of the areas that are going to be chrome. The chrome paint is a little bit different than your silver paint or your other paints like that, because any scratches that you do is going to have kind of a brushed look rather than a real clean chrome look. So we're going to let this dry for a little bit, and then we'll come back and finish the scuffing. So now that we've got our body cut out, we can actually go and scuff the body just to help with adhesion of the paint to the body. One thing to note, to be really careful of when you're doing this, is don't scuff over the window areas that you're going to be putting the masking on, and you want it to be clear. Otherwise it's going to look scuffed on the inside when you get your final painted product. So I'm just using a simple kitchen scrubbing pad. It's cheap, it's easy, it's quick, and it does a good job of scoring the body enough. I like to just make sure that I get all the corners and small areas. I try to go in more of a circular motion where I can. You're not always going to be able to, but as much as possible I like to do that. And then once you get it, I like to hold it up to the light and just make sure that I can see that it's scuffed and that I didn't miss a spot. When you start getting around the windows, I like to go slow and just kind of use the edge of the scrub pad just to try to make sure we don't end up scuffing the windows at all. Alright, now that that's done, we're going to go and actually just wash it lightly with some dish soap and water. I like to use paper towel to do that, just kind of wash it with one rag and then dry it off with paper towel and let it air dry just to get any of the water spots that you may miss. After that, we'll be back to do some masking. As we get ready to paint our body, we need to put on the window mask so that way it protects the windows so they don't get paint on them. So this is the sheet that actually came with the rat rod body from Proline. So we're just going to take the individual pieces and put them on the inside and line them up with the corresponding windows. Alright, now that we've got all of our masks done, it's time to take it outside and paint it. When you're using a rattle can, you want to make sure that you have a nice light just kind of mist the body on the first coat, so that way it really sticks to the body and isn't going to flake off later on. So we've got our Pactra Outlaw Black. Right now we're going to do just our first light coat on the body. So we'll let this dry for a little bit, and then we'll do probably a good 3 more coats on it to get it nice, and so you really can't see any light on the other side through since it's solid black. Now that we've given the body some time to dry, we'll go ahead and put our second coat on.